Hello, I know it's late, but I wanted to get this out there. I wanted to go earlier, but I was waiting on someone and they did not show up. So I'm going live now. We're going to be talking about the man that was shot in Minnesota and exactly what happened. I do believe that this incident is different from the other incident like the one that the lady was shot. I believe that was a good shoot. This shoot, I do not believe is a good shoot. I think that this agent kind of screwed up and killed someone just for being a concealed carry permit holder. I all the information All the information is not out there yet, but we'll see exactly what is going on here. I also want to caution you, we might be looking at some of the footage of what went down from a couple different angles. And let's go ahead and get into the actual footage. Then we're going to get into everything else. All right. So the first thing, if you don't know, a man was shot by ICE today. He was carrying a firearm, so they killed him. So let's go ahead and watch some of this.
Fuck you, assholes!
He's filming right there with the video. The ICE agent pushes him. There's some other angles too. He's down on the ground. Now, right here, you're gonna see that the man, one of the men, disarm him, and there it goes. The
Oh
magnum
my
comes on.
god! You are so evil! What? Shut up! What?
Now, I'm gonna show you another angle here. We'll bring it up.
Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh! Whoa!
Clearly, it was probably a bad shoot. There is a footage. There is other footage out there, but it looks like he was disarmed before he was he was shot. One of the other things is that he was holding a cell phone. His firearm, which was a SIG P320, was printing, and that is why ICE agents decided to go all ham on him because they saw that the gun was printing. The gentleman had a concealed carry permit and was not a criminal. He had no criminal record. I probably disagree with all his politics. His name is Alex Preddy, by the way. I probably disagree with all his politics, but he had every right to carry a gun. Now, what I really want to talk about is some of the responses. And the first response I am going to play, and I'm going to highlight a little bit of the comments, is what the DHS secretary, Christy Nome, said about the incident. So Let me go ahead and I will go ahead and bring that up here. Give me 1 second here. All right. Let me go ahead and bring this up. This is Christy Nome on the shooting.
But I want you to not distract away from the facts of this situation. Our law enforcement officers were there doing a targeted operation against an individual who was in this country illegally and had a criminal conviction for domestic assault with intent to do bodily harm and other convictions as well. This individual went and impeded their law enforcement operations, attacked those officers, had a weapon on him and multiple dozens of rounds of ammunition, wishing to inflict harm on these officers coming brandishing like that and impeding their work that they were doing. We'll continue to allow, that is a different incident that happened at the same situation after the tragedy unfolded. But yes, that's the kind of assaults and violence that our law enforcement officers are facing out in the streets and that the local leaders are encouraging. Remember what Mayor Fry has said. That he wanted ICE out of the city. We have been working and had a presence in that city for years. We are there to enforce the law and to make sure that the public is safe. Just since we have been there, we have arrested thousands of individuals that have criminal convictions and are in this country illegally and gotten them off the streets of Minneapolis. The two things that we've asked the mayor and the governor for is that they would partner with us, and before they let somebody dangerous out of their jails, that they would let us know so we can deport them out of our country. I do not know why they continue to choose the side of lawbreakers, criminals, murderers, and rapists over the citizens of Minneapolis. And this situation that we have today is a tragedy that we don't have to have. We have it because we have a mayor and a governor who encourage this violence and encourage this type of rioting. And remember, these are the individuals that were in charge when Minneapolis burned in 2020. They facilitated it, they encouraged it, and they saw the destruction, and we all watched the destruction of that city back then. It doesn't have to happen again. It appears that they're following the same.
All right. I just want to bring up a couple different things. He was filming, so he wasn't fighting with ICE. He was filming. So when she says he assaulted ICE, that wasn't true. And he did not have the gun in his hand. Absolutely not. He was filming. He had a cell phone in his hand. The police saw him filming them. They saw the 320 printing. They yelled gun, gun, gun. They tackled him, brought him down, and then I just played the video. And they brought him down. So yeah, I played the video earlier before. You can go back and watch the replay. Now, let's go ahead and what I want to do is show you guys something else. Let me just get this here. Up. It was in a holster. It was in his waistband in a holster. Right here, that's his gun. You see this agent right here running with the gun. I'm going to zoom in on it. This is before the shots were fired. So that's before shots were fired. He was already disarmed at this point. What I'm really making a video of is the response from the government. Instead of saying, hey, we're going to investigate this and see exactly what happened, this is the type of response we are getting from the government. You saw Christy Nome's response, and let me go ahead and show you some of the other responses. that we have. This is from a United States attorney. He said, if you approach law enforcement with a gun, there's highly likely they will be legally it's highly likely they will be legally justified to shoot you. Don't do it. So this guy right here is basically saying that if you have a gun, the police are justified in shooting you, which is not something that's good. Let me go. I got Steven. And let me go ahead and share another video here. Let's go on and watch this one.
And I have the privilege and honor of leading United States Border Patrol and Customs and Border Protection here in Minneapolis. Some of those brave men and women of Border Patrol and Department of Homeland Security law enforcement join me here today to show support for all federal law enforcement who have been under constant attack in Minneapolis for weeks now. This morning was no different. At 9:05 a.m. Central Standard Time, as DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien, Jose Huerta Chuma. You can see this illegal alien on the screen to my left and right. That is Jose Huerta Chuma, whose criminal history includes domestic assault to intentionally inflict bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license. During this operation, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The agents attempted to disarm the individual, but he violently resisted. Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of fellow officers, a Border Patrol agent fired defensive shots. Medics on the scene immediately delivered medical aid to the subject, but the subject was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 loaded magazines and no accessible ID. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. Then, about 200 rioters arrived at the scene and began to obstruct and assault law enforcement. Crowd control measures have been deployed for the safety of the public and law enforcement. This situation is evolving and more information is forthcoming. The officer was highly trained and had been serving as a Border Patrol agent for 8 years. The officer has extensive training as a range safety officer and less lethal officer. As mentioned, this is only the latest attack on law enforcement. Across the country, the men and women of DHS have been attacked, shot at, doxxed, had their family members threatened. And, as we have seen, more than 100 vehicle rammings over the past year against federal law enforcement. We will not allow violence against our law enforcement officers, and we need state and local help, state and local law enforcement, to help us coordinate to get violent criminals off the streets. Mayor Fry and Chief O'Hare just a few minutes ago did the opposite of that by omitting the fact that the suspect had a gun and magazines full of ammunition. In what looks like a situation, again, where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. I want to reiterate what President Donald Trump, Secretary Kristi Noem, myself, Director Marcos Charles, and so many others have said time and again. If you obstruct a law enforcement officer or assault a law enforcement officer, you are in violation of the law and will be arrested. Our law enforcement officers take an oath to protect the public. We go to work every day to protect.
Right. All right, that's enough of that. I saw a couple questions. So basically, he's saying once again, it's all about. Oh, he approached a gun. He was taken down. Cause I saw the thing. A couple questions here. Why does an armed man with no ID go to a peaceful protest? You aren't asking the right questions. I would go to a peaceful protest armed, and you shouldn't be required to have ID. Why did he get taken down if he wasn't fighting? You watch the video, the guy goes, gun, gun, gun. They tackle him to the ground, and yeah, there you go. All right, so I did the comment by Bill Isley. But there's other comments like this, like Andrew Branca. I mean, you got to be able to call bad shoots, and good shoots, good shoots. You just have to. He's like, let me go ahead and I'll share this here.
This is the gun at the scene, the shooter's gun. And I'm familiar with this gun. This is a SIG 320. Gosh, what do they call it? The AXG, I think. Yeah, AXG. The SIG 320 AXG Combat. You can see it has a threaded barrel, just like the suspect's gun. This image is from the SIG website, so it doesn't have the optional optic on it, which this guy has, which, by the way, is a SIG optic, a Romeo 2 optic, 9mm pistol, high capacity. This magazine might be the 20 or 21 round magazine, the way it's extending from the gun. This is not an inexpensive firearm. This gun, just the gun without the optics, sells for anywhere between $1,000 and $1,200 retail. And the optic that's on the shooter's gun is typically another $500 or $600. So we're pushing a couple $1,000s worth of the pistol here, which is not a small amount of money on the gun. Now, I'm going to mention, because someone's going to mention it, like it or not, SIG 320s have developed a reputation, deserved or not, of unintentional discharges, meaning if they're dropped, sometimes they go off when they're not supposed to. They're supposed to be drop safe, but there's been lots of press coverage and lawsuits about people just putting a primer in the gun and dropping it. The primer goes off. That's not supposed to happen. There's been lots of lawsuits where people say, I bumped the gun in the holster and it just went off and shot me in the leg, that kind of stuff. In this case, it's beginning to look, at least initially, as if one of the ICE guys perceived the gun on the suspect, this gun, and took it off his person and was turning away, walking away with the gun to secure it from the suspect. But what might have happened, remember, there's a whole bunch of officers involved. They're not all, Ethernet cable to each other's brains. They're all seeing different things. And one officer might have seen the gun and said the word gun. And that might have triggered that first shot by an officer. And then all the other officers begin shooting in response to that initial discharge. That does not make the shooting unlawful. It would be an awful but lawful shooting. So what's required for the shooting to be lawful? The officers have to have a reasonable perception of an imminent threat of unlawful deadly force harm. That's it. If the answer to that is yes, this is a lawful shoot. They're struggling with this gun. If they perceive this guy as being non-compliant with arrest, fighting with officers, as reaching for a weapon, they will have reasonably perceived an imminent threat of unlawful deadly force harm, justifying their use of deadly defensive force. And their perception does not have to be correct. Their perception has to be reasonable. We're not required to make perfect decisions in self-defense. Police too.
All right, I want to see what you guys think about that. What do you think about what he just said? What do you guys think about that? Stephen Miller one of the president's one of the president's closest advisors is calling this guy an assassin. I don't think he was an assassin because assassins go there and they attempt to kill. I don't think this guy was going there to attempt to kill. So let me just show you this really quick here. This is President Trump's closest advisor. An assassin tried to murder federal agents, and this is your response. We have to get to the point where we call out the bad on both sides. If the conservative or ICE, whoever does something bad, we need to be able to call that out. And if someone on the left does something bad, we need to call that out. The Renee Good shooting, I believe that was a good shoot. This is not a good shoot. We have to be honest. All right. I want to do the responses from different gun rights groups. All right. Let's look at what the NRA has said about this. They said, for months, radical progressive politicians like Tim Walz have incited violence against law enforcement officers who are simply trying to do their job. Unsurprisingly, these calls to dangerously interject oneself into legitimate law enforcement activities has ended in violence, tragically resulting in injuries and fatalities. As there is with any officers who are involved shooting, there will be a robust and comprehensive investigation that takes place to determine if the use of force was justified. As we await these facts and gain clearer understanding, we urge the political voices to lower the temperature to ensure the constituents and law enforcement remain safe. So they're taking more of a neutral approach on what happened. There was other organizations like GOA. GOA put out their statement here. So let's go ahead and read the GOA statement. They say, we are saddened by the loss of life in Minneapolis, Minnesota earlier today during a federal law enforcement operation. Because details remain limited and the facts are still emerging, it is essential that the Justice Department conduct a complete, transparent, and prompt investigation so the public can fully understand what occurred and maintain confidence in the rule of law. Furthermore, we condemn the untoward comments of the U.S. Attorney. Federal agents are not highly likely to be legally justified in shooting concealed carry licensees who approach them while lawfully carrying firearms. The Second Amendment protects the Americans' right to bear arms while protesting, a right the federal government must not infringe upon. Finally, the left must stop antagonizing ICE and CBT agents who are taking criminals off the street and play a critical role in protecting communities and upholding the rule of law. So, Minnesota Gun Caucus. Let's go ahead and look at what they're saying. We are deeply concerned by this morning's reports that a federal law enforcement operation in Minneapolis resulted in a fatal shooting of 37-year-old Alex Peretti by federal agents. According to local law enforcement, the man was legally armed. A firearm was discovered at the scene. and he believed to have been a lawful gun owner and had a permit to carry. Many critical facts remain unknown. We are not yet, sorry, we do not yet have an independent account of what initiated the encounter or what triggered the use of deadly force. Despite widespread speculations regarding intent, there has been no evidence produced indicating that there was an attempt to harm the officers. We are calling for a full and transparent investigation by both state and federal authorities. Every peaceable Minnesotan have the right to keep and bear arms, including while attending protests, acting as observers, or exercising their First Amendment rights. These rights do not disappear when someone is lawfully armed, and they must be respected and protected at all times. So that is what a lot of the gun groups are saying. I haven't seen anything from the Second Amendment Foundation quite yet. I'm going to just check one more time. But I just wanted to make this video to get my thoughts out on it. And we have to be able to call out both sides when we think that there's wrong. A Second Amendment Foundation does not have a comment out. Let me check with Firearms Policy Coalition. And then I will check to see if any others came out while I've been live. No comment by Firearms Policy Coalition. And I am going to check. And I think these organizations are going to have to put out something. And nothing by them yet. So we're going to have to look into this. We're going to have to see where this goes. I hope that there is a clear investigation of what happened, and I hope we get answers. If there is some other footage that shows that he was a danger to others, I will have to see, but I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen him pull his gun. All I saw was a concealed carry permit holder being taken down, being disarmed, and being shot. Whether there's going to be other things that happen and other footage and other videos coming out, we'll have to see. But that is what we have now. There is no black and white answer. We live in a world of grays. We want to live in a world of black and whites, but we live in the world of grays. Minnesota Gun Coalition. Let's go ahead and take a look at what they said. Thank you for pointing that out. Let's go see. Then we're gonna get out of here. I can't find it, but yeah, I'll find it. I'll look it up later. But we are going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. And with that, we are gone. All right, bye-bye.